We'd all like to see through the eyes of a bird, soaring and diving at will. Most of us are inherently competitive, with sport today creating international communities and goodwill. Today, drone technology is behind one of the fastest growing sports, combining the freedom of flight with the excitement of international competition. By combining drone sports with elements of education, we can significantly heighten engagement. Students are able to see the real and immediate value of understanding the technology involved. I'd now like to show you a short documentary on a MINDDRIVE success story. MINDDRIVE are educators and Rotor Rush Academy members based in Kansas City, USA.
About a year and a half ago, while watching TV, I came across some drone FPV racing and immediately thought it was something that the students would be into, but also I thought it could be another vehicle for getting them excited about learning, which is basically what we do at MINDDRIVE. About 10 months ago, we started trying to figure out how to even do a class, and we were fortunate enough to get connected with the Kansas City Multi-Rotor and Derek. Realizing it was going to take 7 to 8 weeks to build these quads got me thinking it would be great if the students had a simulator they could practice on, so I asked Derek if there was one he recommended. Why did you recommend Rotor Rush as the simulator we should use?
Well, I have all of them. So I'm one of those guys who probably spent all the money on everything bad before I found the one that was good. And undoubtedly, Rotor Rush was the software that felt like flying a real drone. When you need something that you can practice on and then get out to the race and actually feel like you're still practiced and you're ready to go, you need your muscle memory to be prepared for the speed of the drone. You need to get the feel of it. The simulator, Rotor Rush simulator, is pretty much the only one that, in my opinion, comes close.
When you first got on a simulator, what did you think?
Man, when I first got on the simulator, it was crazy. It was because I couldn't even take off. But then I put it on stabilized mode, and that's what helped me out. I just see how broad it was, how big, and how many maps there were, and everything that you could do. And then Derek came in, put us on acro, and that took a while to learn. But once I learned that, so it felt good.
After Derek joined the drone program, he was like, no more stabilized mode. I'm going to turn you to acro and only acro. I learned that in about 3 days. I figured it out in 3 days afterwards. And it was way more fun and exciting than stabilized.
I just remember when we all started racing, they had some experience with the tiny whoops. And the tiny whoops are by default, they're in stabilization mode or in horizon mode. I didn't want them to go too much into the simulation with that stabilization mode. So I said, hey, if you're gonna fly, do an acro. So in watching the kids go, oh no, we have to fly in acro mode, and then watching these two guys, Jorge and Carlos, pick it up so quickly, I just knew these guys were actually racing. And then a few weeks into it, I sit down and they're either keeping up with me or beating me. And at that point, it's like, all right, you guys need to move on to the drone.
The students met once a week for about 10 weeks. They would rotate between flying Rotor Rush and building their quads. And at the end of the class, we organized a practice session with the help of KCMR for the students to actually fly for real.
I was nervous, but I was excited. Like, as soon as I saw the track Derek had set up for us, I wanted to fly it. I wanted to see if I could accomplish.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was scared that on my first little fly, I'd just crash into something immediately. Once I took off, it was just easy and simple, and I just went slow and with it, and I got a lot done. I was really smooth.
And Carlos and Jorge were flying 4 feet, 6 feet off the ground, and they weren't changing their elevation. They were keeping their height all the way around the course that we had set up. And that's when I thought, okay, you can really tell the difference between somebody who just is a natural and somebody who's kind of going up and down and up and down. These kids really get the idea. So that's when we were, of the opinion that, hey, it's really time to get them engaged in a race.
Were you surprised to be asked by these guys in this club to fly in an actual legit race?
Yeah, oh definitely, I was surprised because they're bringing me out there, and as soon as I got out there, they introduced me to the main people who started that multi-rotor KC.
I was excited. I wanted to see exactly what everybody had to do in a group in order to fly.
At the race, Jorge and Carlos killed it. Because they had the Rotor Rush to practice on, they just killed it. Everybody was so stoked. It took about 1 to 2 heats for them to get comfortable, but once they did, they started laying down actual laps, hitting all the gates.
I knew that they'd pick it up pretty quickly. So I didn't think they'd pick it up as quick as they did. I mean, literally, they had an hour a week, 2 hours a week for a month and a half or so, and they immediately went out and flew like they knew how to fly. So that, I knew the simulator would help them along in the process.
It helped me with turns and muscle memory. It helped me figure out exactly what I had to do for this drone now.
It's just like, you can't go wrong with on the simulator and then going into a real drone. Because just everything was there. Like, I was able to keep my height, I was able to stabilize, I was able to do everything.
KCMR, the club, has been tremendous, and we have a permanent flying field that we can use, and with the help of Rotor Rush, we are working to recruit other high schools to start a high school-based drone racing league this fall.
And then ultimately, the kids benefit as well because they get to be a part of something that's really professionally done.
It's great to see Oz and Derek having a great success there with their new pilots. And by the way, that documentary was edited and put together by the students themselves. The Rotor Rush Academy is an international community of educators utilising drone technology to help develop the engineers and pilots of tomorrow. Our objective is to provide you, the educators, creators and entertainers, with tools to help your audience discover drone technology, to get them engaged and progress as individuals. For more info, see the contact details below. Like and subscribe to stay in touch.